Howdy folks, welcome back to World of Warships with the mighty Jingles. Today, carrying on from our previous look at the Tier 3 American cruiser, the USS St. Louis, we're going to be taking a look at the Tier 4 American cruiser, the USS Phoenix. What can I tell you about the USS Phoenix? Well, not an awful lot, because the USS Phoenix never existed, at least not in this shape and form. There were no such thing as the Phoenix class light scout cruiser. This is a paper design. Now, you may be looking at this and thinking, you know, it does look awfully similar to the Tier 5 American cruiser, the Omaha Class, and you'd be absolutely right, because the work that went into the development of the Phoenix class of light scout cruiser served as the prototype for the development of the Omaha at Tier 5. I have to admit, I'm kind of curious as to why they went with the Phoenix at Tier 4, considering it's just essentially a paperwork prototype that led to the Omaha at Tier 5. Why not have the Omaha at Tier 4, and then something else from the huge range of other American cruisers that existed between the Omaha and the Cleveland at Tier 6. Could have gone with the Brooklyn class of cruisers, which were first commissioned in 1937. They were an interwar design. Armament wouldn't have been out of the question. They had the same 152mm or 6-inch guns. Or maybe the Brooklyns were a little too well armed. They did have 15 6-inch guns, 152mm guns, and 8 5-inch guns. Actually, while we're talking about ships called the USS Phoenix and Brooklyn-class cruisers, there was a Brooklyn-class cruiser called the USS Phoenix, and it was notable in that it was one of the few ships to escape Pearl Harbor, almost completely undamaged. It did in fact go on to completely survive the Pacific War, and was eventually sold on to the Argentinian Navy, where it was renamed the General Belgrano. And the USS Phoenix, or as it was now known, the General Belgrano, had the unfortunate distinction of, on the 2nd of May 1982, being the first and only surface ship sunk by a nuclear-powered submarine in wartime, when it was torpedoed with 3 Mark 8 torpedoes by the Royal Navy submarine HMS Conqueror. This was only the second sinking of a surface ship ever by any submarine since the end of World War II. What made things even more bizarre was that the Mark 8 torpedo was a Second World War design. In fact, it was actually designed in 1927. The Mark 8 torpedo was famous for another reason. On the 9th of February 1945, the Royal Navy submarine HMS Venturer sank the German submarine U-864 with 4 Mark 8 torpedoes. This is the only intentional wartime sinking of one submarine by another, while both were submerged. Which is all very interesting, of course, but doesn't help us decide what other class of ship we could have had at Tier 5 if we'd moved the Omaha to Tier 4 instead of the Phoenix. Prior to the introduction of the Cleveland at Tier 6, one was also the St. Louis class of cruiser, but hang on, that's going to get confusing because, well, we already have a St. Louis class of cruiser at Tier 3, and there wasn't that much difference between the Brooklyn class and the St. Louis class. Also, the St. Louis class, its anti-aircraft armament was probably a bit too good for Tier 5. And then, succeeding the St. Louis class, we finally start to get actual Second World War designs, and suddenly we run into the Cleveland at Tier 6, and contemporaries of the Cleveland, like the Atlanta class, are already in the game, at Tier 7 as a premium. So, I'm kind of surprised to see the Phoenix here at Tier 4. I would imagine that the Omaha would have been the Tier 4 ship, and perhaps the Brooklyn class, or something like that, would have slotted in at Tier 5 before we got to the Cleveland at Tier 6, but nevertheless, Tier 4 is where it is, so what do you need to know about it? The Phoenix design is a radical departure from what you've been used to in the US Navy cruisers up till this point. With the Chester at Tier 2 and especially the St. Louis at Tier 3, you've got ships that are relatively slow but are very, very well armed. Fantastically well armed in the case of the St. Louis at Tier 3. You don't get that with the Phoenix. In fact, you don't really get that to the same degree with any of the American cruisers until you get up to Tier 10 and the Des Moines. Instead, what you have are light scout cruisers, certainly at Tier 4 and Tier 5, and they arose from, trying to think of the right word here, a capability gap, I suppose is what you call it in modern terms, that the US Navy identified it during the manoeuvres that they conducted in 1915 when they realised they didn't really have anything equivalent to the Royal Navy's Centaur class of light scout cruiser. They didn't have anything fast enough that was capable of looking after itself while at the same time scouting far ahead of the friendly fleet and obtaining information on enemy positions while denying the enemy the opportunity to do the same to the US Navy fleet. And so design work was commissioned into developing a line of fast, light scout cruisers design work that we see here in the Phoenix, but which ultimately led to the development of the Omaha Class at Tier 5. You can tell just from looking at this ship that it's going to be quick. It's got those nice, clean, swept-back lines that you associate with a fast-moving vessel, and from certain angles it does look like a very modern design, until you get in a bit closer and you realise that none of these guns are mounted in turrets yet. It still very much betrays its First World War origins. And you are going to be disappointed when you first get your hands on the Phoenix, because it does not have the firepower, even fully upgraded. It doesn't have the firepower of the St. Louis at Tier 3. In fact, initially, you're probably going to be hating this ship. In its stock configuration, it only has 6 152mm guns. That is pretty terrible. You can go through 2 hull upgrades, however, the first of which adds an additional 2 guns, and the final one adds another 2 guns for a total of 10 152mm main battery guns. But the more eagle-eyed amongst you may have noticed that the Phoenix does not have any secondary guns. The St. Louis, as well as its 14 152mm, also had 18 76.2mm secondary batteries. The Phoenix doesn't get any. The guns that it does have, however, are better than the guns that you get on the St. Louis. They have a slightly slower rate of fire, 8.6 versus 7.5 rounds per minute, but they do turn faster, they have more high explosive damage, they have more armor piercing damage, they have a much better chance of setting the target on fire with high explosive ammunition, but the icing on the cake is the fact that they vastly outrange the guns on the St. Louis. The St. Louis could only fire its 152mm guns out to a range of 10.4 kilometers. On the Phoenix, these guns can reach out and touch the target from 13.7 kilometers away. And you're going to find when you're sailing the Phoenix that you've got the speed to keep your opponent at that kind of range, if that's what it takes, because this thing will do 35 knots. There are destroyers in the game that can't match the speed of the Phoenix class light cruiser. This is a quick ship. And it does also have one other thing, one little ace up its sleeve. You may be thinking, well, yeah, okay, I'm still not convinced. I mean, even fully upgraded, it only has 10 152mm guns. Well, yeah, that's true. And yes, it's fast, but there's only so far you can run if you're the last ship on the team before they track you down and kill you. But what the Phoenix has, and the Omaha at Tier 5, is something that no other American cruisers possess. This thing's got torpedoes. 2 torpedo launchers, triple tubes, port and starboard side, 533mm torpedoes. 66-second reload time, 11,733 maximum damage per torpedo. This thing has a very surprising punch. You'd be amazed at the amount of people who forget that the Phoenix and the Omaha aren't just gunships, they also carry torpedoes, because nobody expects American cruisers to have torpedoes, because most American cruisers don't. The Phoenix and the Omaha do. As far as the Phoenix's anti-aircraft defense is concerned, well, it's vastly superior to the anti-aircraft firepower that you get on the St. Louis, but it's still pretty bad. It has 4 50 caliber M2 machine guns. It also has 2 quadruple-barreled 28mm cannons and 4 76mm anti-aircraft flak guns. It may sound impressive, trust me, it really isn't. You really don't start seeing the American cruisers performing their role as anti-aircraft escorts until you get up to Tier 6 in the Cleveland. In fact, that's pretty much true across the board, with the exception of perhaps the Congo-class battleship at Tier 5. Nothing in the game really has very impressive anti-aircraft firepower until you get up to Tier 6. So, yeah, terrible anti-aircraft armament, but nobody else at Tier 4 has impressive anti-aircraft armament anyway. And finally, concealment. The ship will be spotted from the surface at a range of 13.1 kilometers and from the air at a range of 6.7 kilometers. So that is the Phoenix at Tier 4. You're probably going to hate it at first because it just does not have the same firepower as the Phoenix, but you better get used to it because this is what the American cruisers are like. You're never really going to see an American cruiser with that kind of firepower until you get to Tier 10 and the Des Moines. But these are good ships, and the Phoenix at Tier 4 and the Omaha at Tier 5 do have that extra sting in the tail that everybody keeps forgetting about until it's too late. Those torpedo launchers. I lost my voice there for a second, did you hear that? Yes, those torpedo launchers. So let's see how this thing plays.
I've spawned in a terrible spot. There's an island right to my left side, so I can't do a left turn, which is exactly what I wanted to do.
Okay.
I don't really want to head for C with 3 destroyers in play.
Most of our team is going to A and B, so I think we should focus up on A and B. Maybe you can go and take B cap and then get back from it.
Dangerous. With 3 destroyers, I'll get spotted. Those battleships will hammer me.
Alright, let's hope I'm not dead. Alright, I'm not dead! Yay! All's well! Oh yeah, this is the Phoenix. It's kind of like a mixed gunship. Torpedoes, you saw me play this a couple of games ago. The guns on it are excellent for just consistent damage, but yeah, because the ship gets torpedoes, it has to be balanced in another way. It's not cool. The best thing about this, obviously, are the guns can fire absolutely miles.
And it's a lot faster than the St. Louis as well.
That's true. Oh my word, got hit. Ah, that's the guy who can see me. Cheeky little bugger. Oh dude, they locked my rudder and I just... Oh, Jingles, I'm dead. Sorry, I just got owned.
Oh, they knocked your rudder out?
Yeah, so I like went into a thing and...
That's why I don't rush caps when I'm in a cruiser.
That's true.
I can see you from so much further away than in a destroyer. It doesn't look like anybody's going for B. I might risk it. Everybody that I can see is at least 15 kilometers away.
Oh dude, I feel very inexperienced right now.
Well, you're still in it.
Yeah, but I'm on fire, unfortunately. I'm just going to take this cruiser down with me.
Which one's that?
The one that's right here in front of me.
Cruiser.
Sorry, God, destroyer. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, all right, the Clemson. Okay, I'll try to help out. Which I should be able to do in a minute. Right at the extreme limit of my range. There's a Tatsuta out there.
Got him.
Good. Right, there's a Tatsuta shooting at you. I'm engaging him.
Nearly put... Oh, my fire's been put out by the looks of it.
Oh, this is bad. I found a battleship.
I hit him in the citadel twice. Oh, I'm going down swinging! Get wrecked! Oh my word, this is a great game. In the end. Only I thought it was going really badly, but in the end it's a great game.
I don't think this battleship realises I have torpedoes. Yep.
Ah, cool, I hit him with one of my torps. You just murdered someone over there.
Murdered a battleship.
Nice.
I mean, battleships are for killing cruisers, and I'm capping B. Oh look, they're focusing on you there. Alright, I'm coming after that. Mayogi over there as well. We've completely lost C, and we just need to focus on holding A and B. My torpedoes are reloaded.
Our team has taken the lead.
Right, I'm starting to broadside that battleship over there. Yeah, doing some good damage to him. two of them there.
Yeah, man. This is some brutal game. Action-packed. Oh, cool. Just one more salvo on him will be his demise. Come on, baby. Light my fire. Just a little bit more. 1 pen on his signals. GG. Come on. Come on, dude.
Get it!
Oh, he's got it. 400 out there. He's down. Good stuff. All
Right,
he's
we're
gone.
going to lose B soon. We're being I'm going to go and engage that destroyer. I'm in a cruiser. That's what I'm for.
They're trying to torpedo me.
We do need to defend B. Destroyer back there, he's launched a smoke screen, they're capping. He's now
Okay.
spotting me for that other cruiser at the back. This thing's good at dodging torpedoes though, but we need to not focus on that bloody battleship and get back over here and, you know, do the business.
Redman, thank you so much. Redman says he's totally serious. I don't know what to say, Redman. Okay, thank you very much. All I can say is, Redman, I'm sure you're going to have an absolutely amazing wedding, and you don't need grumpy people like me and Jingles going to your wedding.
No.
The enemy team has taken the lead.
Thank
All
you
right,
very
this-
much.
Ooh, I spotted. Destroyer's making a torpedo run on me. Like he thinks I don't know.
Redman, I'll have to think about it next month probably, because between now and then I couldn't commit to changing my gas supplier. With my brain being where it is. If somebody came to me and went, oh, I'm going to let you gamble on, do you want to take a bet with me? You have a 100% chance of winning £20,000. Do you want to take it? My brain would be like, nope, not right now. Okay, thanks. Ah. Alright, Jingles, I'm racing away. Hell, it's going to take me at least a minute or two to get there.
It's alright. It's alright. I've got this.
You got this. Yeah, they've only got 3 ships.
I'm going to take a torpedo hit.
Can you take it? Single torpedo hit?
Yeah, I took it. I'm heavily damaged. Oh crap, I'm going to run into friendly torpedoes here. Who are this? It's that idiot in the destroyer. He's going to kill me. No, I managed to dodge them. Jesus Christ, what a cretin.
Oh my word, okay. At least he warned you in the chat. He said, Jingles, torps behind you, left side.
Oh, I didn't see it. On my fault. I wasn't paying attention. Look at them. Nice kill steal, Jingles. Yeah, I'm sitting here taking fire from 2 cruisers and 1 destroyer. I kill one of them and I'm kill stealing. Right, let's get that carrier.
You know, I guess the carrier's all the way up north, is he?
He will be, yeah, but we're fast. Although, no, the game's over. 950 points, we've won.
True.
I see the chat now. Jingles talk. Well, at least he warned me. It's my fault for not paying attention.
An easy thing to do. You think you're saving someone, and then quickly it turns into, I'm killing him.
Yeah.
It's just even more painful because it's unavoidable in this game. Like,
Yeah.
at least in World of Tanks, the damage is done within like 5 seconds or so.
Indeed.
But
That was
in
alright.
this game, yeah, we carried that between us. GG.
We made the right decisions. Went after the right targets at the right... And you were convinced it was over right at the start, weren't you? What happened? Did you take damage and then you repaired it, then they hit you again, knock your rudder out and set you on fire?
Yeah, no, it was bad. Bad things were happening.
Oh.
Actually, to be honest, I didn't repair my rudder. I just, like, I was thinking, yeah, I'll be okay, and I realized that I had it locked in, and so I went straight into an island. But luckily, I dodged out, landed some great hits on some destroyers, took the 2 destroyers out that were hunting me, and they managed to get away from the cruisers. So it was going all right.
So,
I even hit a torpedo as well.
yeah, I chewed one. The thing was I could hear the torpedo warning, but I could not see the torpedoes in the water until it was right at the last second. But I could afford to take one. So that destroyer managed to get me from beyond the grave. I think it was my secondaries that finished him off, actually. So that was 46 gun hits, 2 torpedo hits, 107,000 credits, 2,450 XP. How did you do?
I closed the window. How do I get it again? I don't know.
Oh,
Can I
you
get
can't.
it?
No, you can't once it's gone. But I'm looking at your... yeah, it was very, very close. 1,633 XP for me, 1,595 for you. There's nothing in it.
We carried the game between us
2
there on
kills
both the
each.
flank.
That Minakaze as well, that destroyer, tier 5 destroyer, he got 3 kills.
Nice.
Well played.
Actually, looking at the scoreboard from the end of that match, towards the end of the game, as that enemy cruiser and destroyer both came around the side of that island and lined up for torpedo runs at me, it's entirely possible that that enemy destroyer was actually taken out by the Phoenix who was behind him. Because one of the Phoenixes in that game actually ended up on the enemy team with -1 kills. So, once again, it just underlines the importance of watching out for where torpedoes are coming, and not just from the enemy team. There's no such thing as friendly fire. It's all very, very unfriendly. And my apologies once again to Toroshu and the Minakaze, who, yeah, he did launch a reckless spread of torpedoes, but he did at least have the courtesy to attempt to warn me so that I could take evasive action. And at the end of the day, I saw them coming and was able to avoid them anyway, so no harm was done. So hopefully that gave you a good indication of the kind of thing that you can do in the Phoenix, the Tier 4 American light cruiser. That was a Tier 5 match. There were some potentially disastrous situations in that game, particularly when I made a rush for the B point early on in the game, only to run face first into an enemy Tier 4 battleship as it came around the other side of the flag. Luckily for me, once again, enemy battleship drivers always fail to remember that the Phoenix is one of the 2 American cruisers that can carry torpedoes, and if you close to within 5 kilometers of one of these things, it is going to launch torpedoes at you, with disastrous consequences for enemy battleship drivers who are foolish enough to let one of these things get too close. So that's the Phoenix, American Tier 4 light cruiser. I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always folks, take care, and I'll catch you next time.